Hello, hello. I'm super excited to share what's been happening here this week. Lots of good stuff from art to design, and of course, lots of stitching. This video is sponsored by Estelle Center for the Creative Arts, a retreat center in beautiful La Veta, Colorado. They have invited me to teach there in 2026. Click the link for all the details. If you're interested, don't delay. The workshop is almost full. So, that said, let's get back to quilting. Here you can see some of the choices I've made with regard to her face. She looks a little Herman Munster-like here, but trust me, she won't in the end. Things are a little askew, which is exactly how I like them. And speaking of what I like, I was watching this video on YouTube, and this was one of those moments where I just was like, I love this. I love these colors. And then I looked at the colors I was working with and went, oh, of course I love these colors. So last week I talked about her potentially having a hat. And so believe it or not, I am going to try to make a hat using these blocks. So I only have a handful of these left. And I'm going to try and line up the bases and have all of the bases overlap and touch so that there's this mass of black. And right now I am looking at the vases to get them in some kind of order. So I think this will be the center one, and then just balance out the other ones. Not this order, but this order. So let's see how this goes. So the first time I did it, or the second time, this is the second seam, I am folding it so that the orange background doesn't show, and I'm finger pressing it. And believe it or not, I'm going to pin it. I'm not a big pinner. If you follow me, you know that. And now I'm taking it over to my iron and I'm pressing that fold. There is an easier way, and I will show you that next. Now I'm taking out the pins, holding the fabric, repinning it. Trust me, there's an easier way. But sometimes when you're doing something for the first time, you overthink it a little bit. So now I'm going to sew along that folded line. Here I'm opening it just to make sure it came out like I wanted it to. And now I'm going to trim off the excess fabric. And yes, I rolled over a pin the other day with this rotary cutter, and so there's this tiny little spot that doesn't cut. Anyway, I thought these scraps might make something interesting for later. Here's another set of scraps. I hate to throw anything away. Yeah, don't laugh at my pressing job there on, on the back side. It was pretty bad. Okay, So I'm fixing that pressing spot right now. But this next piece that I'm going to add is actually a much easier way to do it. Forget those pins. Forget those pins. Throw them out. No, don't throw them out. Just don't use them like this. Okay, everything's pressed. Now for the next one. Look at that beautiful pressing job. Okay, so I need that vase. And instead of doing all that pinning and stuff, I'm just folding it so the background doesn't show. I'm simply pressing that right then and there. Forget the pins, right? Lay it on, scoot it over so the background doesn't show. Make sure it's lined up. And open it and sew it. Okay, good enough. Trim. Another funky little potential unit for the future. And one more. And I'm going to do it the same way I just did it. Fold it, press it. Make sure the background is not picking around the corner. Press it with the iron. Lay it in place. Pull it up so the bottom lines up. Is it starting to look like a hat? Isn't that funny that I find the scraps almost more interesting than what I'm actually doing? Okay. One more press. And then I will trim it and we'll audition it on the wall, on her head. Does it look like a hat? I'm going to speed this up just a little bit because it's kind of a putsy, um, kind of a putsy little ordeal here. I want her eyebrow to show, or yeah, I guess that's an eyebrow. So I angled it. So now I'm just stepping back and looking at it from a distance to see what I think. Mainly, do I want to leave that orange corner in the upper right, or do I want to fold it under? I notice, oh, that handle could be an ear. But before I go to the ear, I pin it under. And now it's looking a little more crown-like than hat-like, but that's okay. Now I'm overlooking for an ear in my, there, I found it. I was looking for an ear in my my stash of scraps. Look at that. The handle from the jug is now an ear. Who knew? That's why I love this process. I had one of those days this week where I just wanted to sew and not think. So I did a bunch of wonky log cabins with some of my favorite fabrics. And of course, I am now just playing with them to see if I can somehow make them work in this piece, or if they will be used somewhere else some other day in some other project. I really like how they turned out. You can already probably see that they're not the same size. I haven't trimmed them or anything. They're just approximately the same size. Some of these fabrics are from 2006 when I did my first collection with Andover, and some of them are from my most recent collection with P&B Textiles, and some of them are my spoonflower fabrics. So there's quite a range of dates and designs going on here. I'm one of those people who can make a decision after I see it. I can't, I mean, I can imagine it, but of course, imagining it and then the reality of the real thing is many times far, far apart. And so my preference and way of working is to get it up there, throw it on the wall, see what it looks like, take it down, put it up, and decide that way. Now I'm going to look at it from a distance here. I will need to sit with this for a while. Meanwhile, I am going to stitch these together. These scraps that have been intriguing me. So I do want these to line up. So I am going to put a pin in a 1/4 inch from the edge where I want it to line up with the other one, a 1/4 inch from the edge. And then I'm going to pin that. And I know that if I go through exactly that spot where that pin is, that they should line up perfectly. So we'll see. So here's where I ended up. I am going to sit with it. It could change a lot. It could change a little. We'll just keep going. And then I put up the mixed media piece that I created last week just to photograph it. And I realized, oh my goodness, look at how they relate to each other. And then I had another pipe dream brainstorm, whatever you want to call it. I thought, what if I printed this on Spoonflower? Got very excited because I would love to create an art quilt with her as the central motif. And then I started creating all these prints that could go with it. Now, I did upload them to Spoonflower this afternoon, and when that arrives, if everything looks good, I will make it available to everyone. So stay tuned, and let's just see where this goes. I'm very excited. Last I heard, there were only 3 spots left at this workshop in Colorado, Estelle Center for the Creative Arts. So if you're interested, get signed up. If it's already full by the time you see this video, they do have a waiting list. So get your name on it, and hopefully I'll see you there. That's it for this week. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for watching to the end. And you know what to do. Like, share, comment, and most of all, come back next week. See you then. Bye.